This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, October 25th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech podcast all about home technology, home automation.
Extended breaks.
Extended breaks through the summer. Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah, well, welcome back, everybody. I did release the last time show eventually, but I guess when did we record last? I don't even remember. It was like for what, the 17th?
Yeah, it was a while ago, and we're getting flack about things I don't even remember talking about.
Yeah, I slept since then. I can't really tell you.
What did I say that upset people?
Honestly, I was getting a little concerned. I thought maybe you guys just kicked me off the podcast and somehow blocked me. And so I was like, they moved to Discord. Like, what's going on here? So glad to know that you did not do that.
So I think it was roughly 20 days ago. We had a pod. We sat down to record for podcast.
That's so long.
Yeah, it was a long time.
So much has changed.
So what's going on, Seth? How'd you?
Yeah, fun. We sat down and recorded the podcast. No, it was on Thursday. That's what it was. It was a super late Thursday night thing we had to do. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna edit this for Friday. Well, it turns out by Saturday there was a Category 5 hurricane bearing down directly on my house, and even the little track maps were kind of funny. I have a nice little like zoom and enhance video of the hurricane tracking, like zooming in to where it goes in at Florida, and it literally goes right, like the little line was over like straight over two houses. You know, it's kind of like a made up line or whatever, but like it was kind of wild to see, like, oh, that's coming here. So we like quickly booked a hotel, or on Saturday and Sunday, I think I booked a hotel, and then spent the whole weekend trying to get the house put together. And, we got the boards you put up on the windows. You try and like prepare everything. You try and pack some stuff up. And then we got out of town. We went to Orlando and set up shop there for the week. And hurricane direct hit on Sarasota. So
it's a good thing you left. Jeez.
And you guys got to see a little bit of it.
That was exciting. Yep.
Yeah, exciting. Let's watch the weather on Seth's YouTube channel.
It's like I had the weather channel up on one screen, and then I had your house camera up on picture in picture, and it's like watching it live happen.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't publish that to the live feed. I just kind of like sent it around to the hub and everything. I think just kind of like threw it up here and there. But we had so I figured this out while I was sitting in my hotel room. I had connectivity back to the house. And so I was able to get on Unraid and make a Docker for this thing called Restreamer or something. What it did was it took a camera feed. It can take any feed. Like you could take an output from like OBS or whatever. It's kind of like if you've ever used that Restream web service that's out there, Restream or something like that, where it can like pipe the video to different services, this is kind of like a self-hosted way of doing that. I just happened to run across it, and I said, you know what? Gavin told me how to use Dockers at one point in time in my life. I'm going to use this. Yeah, it's called Restreamer, and their icon looks like they stole it directly from Adobe, but it allows you to send streaming in real time. You can stream H.264 video of IP cameras live to your website, and you can pump your live video to YouTube Live, Ustream, Twitch, livestream.com. Basically, I took that and I shot it over to our YouTube channel, which we've done live stuff in the past, but just made a little unlisted video and had I think it was like 18 hours of it going, because it was like done a day or two in advance or whenever. Like I had to see if it worked before I sent out the link. But yeah, what was cool was it was the new UniView camera that I had. Right before I left the house, I was like, I'm going to drill a hole here and run this wire outside. And I ran a wire down my driveway, like in like the side of the driveway where you would normally edge, and then up my mailbox. And it faced my house. So like I had a decent picture of the house when all this was going on. And it's not a good picture now because like I parked my car in front of it right now. So now it just sees the back taillight of my car and nothing else. But for the hurricane, it had a really good view of the whole house. Like you can even see like the neighbor's trees swaying back and forth in the wind and that kind of stuff. So, and since it was what they call the owl view, which is the nighttime view thing that we talked about, man, it was nice and clean. It was enjoyable.
Yeah. kept an eye on your house for you. I let you know every time something was blowing off, your car cover was coming off.
Did you say you got a package or something?
I was joking about that.
That'd been funny.
I did. He wasn't joking. I did actually get a package. It was a few hours before that, but like FedEx came through super late and dropped packages off at people's houses. And my neighbor, who's the only one that stayed, saw them doing this stupid act and went out and got the packages off the doorstep from everybody's house. But yeah, I do not know what they were thinking.
That's hilarious.
They could have held that for a few days.
He's just like, nope, off my truck.
Yep, exactly. I get paid by the container. Here you go. Boom.
We'll deliver in any weather.
Lots of notes on hurricanes. Power sucks, evidently. When we lost power, I guess we lost it on Wednesday, and it was, if you're watching the video, it was right when the eye was hitting. So that was like not the worst part of the storm. Turns out that was like kind of tame. It was like everybody thought it was worse, and then the eye went over. People said they went outside their house and they could look up and see the clouds all around. They were directly in the center of it. And then I guess the backside of the hurricane was actually the worst that hit us. So that had like the 90 and 100 mile an hour, 130 mile an hour winds. So that is when things went crazy. But I had lost power well in advance of that. And it did not come back on until Sunday night, about 9 or 10 o'clock, somewhere in there. And by that time we were back, we had already cleaned out the fridge, the fridge and freezer and everything that died there. But I've been looking at house batteries for the past week. Like as I'm there, it's Prime Day, right? So it was Prime Day that week, and Anchor is putting on all those, like, what are they called? The Anchor Solux house battery things on sale. Like they were sale like 35% off these things. I'm like, oh man, this is so tempting. But if you look at it, like they're not that big, and they only power things for a few hours. It's like just kind of like a thing that like would replace the generator until you can turn the generator on, essentially. I am looking at house batteries, one of these. And I hate generators. I'm going to make that. Every time I've had a generator, I bought a generator, I take it out diligently and I test it twice a year. Well, I guess the last time I tested it, I forgot to turn the gas knob thing off, the valve, and drain it like I normally do. And so that gunked up the carburetor, and the carburetor did not work. And as much cleaning, and I literally sat there for hours cleaning out the carburetor, did not work.
Aww.
Would not work anymore. Did not start. So went over, got a generator from a family member, drug it back to the house, put some gas in it, cranked it up, and got the refrigerators cooled down. And then I was looking around like, all right, well, I may as well fill this up because the power's not coming on, tonight. And I filled up their generator full of gas, and then the power came on almost immediately. So
that's payment. That's payment for borrowing.
I had to drain all of it back out. It's ridiculous.
Oh, man. No, we should drain it this time.
I've got a new carburetor on my generator. So in, 5 years or whenever we have another hurricane and maybe a power outage, I will be ready for that. But I think I am going to switch it over to propane because one, propane doesn't gunk up your generator. And two, I can get like a decent sized propane tank or whatever. And I guess the little conversion kits, like you can run it in gas mode as well. It doesn't have to be just in propane mode. But, I'll keep a couple gas cans around for the extended outages, but I think it'll run off propane well enough for us to keep the fridge and freezer. If we're in town, keep the fridge and freezer going. This time we left town because I wouldn't play with a Cat 5 hurricane. Not where we live. But luckily it did slow down and hit as like a pretty strong 3. So
would you ever consider something like the Generacs, the whole home things that, kick in automatically?
Yeah, honestly, I would at this point. They're very expensive to get hooked up and everything because you got to get like an inverter, not an inverter, a switch. What do they call it? A takeover switch hooked up where when the mains kicks off, it will completely cut off everything. And switch over to the generator power. I would do that. I don't know. It's one of those things that would be nice. There are people that I do know that's had power throughout this whole thing. And even when the power is off, like a Cat 3 is going to kick power off for a few days for most everybody. It's going to happen. Like there's no getting around it. Anything bigger, it would be longer, but we would still be without power. But the people I did see with power, like some of my clients, they we were calling everybody, checking on everybody. They had like one of those Generac things with they were hooked up to the natural gas lines.
That's the way I would go. Yes.
Yeah. That's the best way, honestly.
Yeah.
We don't have natural gas in my neighborhood, so it's in the fancy neighborhood where they have gas for their torches.
Yeah, propane sounds like the second best option, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you get a little less power with propane, if I remember correctly. But
it doesn't make enough. It doesn't run the generator as
Jim from the home gadget geeks is always talking about that. There's I think I remember this correctly that propane is not as powerful as like gas or diesel or something like that. Diesel, I think, is the strongest one.
Yeah, and I remember him talking about, he had like a storm go through and he's been talking about generators for a while. Mm-hmm. And I remember him saying that that's what he did in like one of the military branches. He said he was kind of a generator tech.
Yeah.
I need to go pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah, I probably would. He knows a lot about them.
And I will say, like, we were happy. Well, my wife was really happy watching, like, you guys were watching the front camera, and we were kind of keeping an eye on the creek in the back. So we had like the rear facing camera.
Yeah, I was watching that one too. It was interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have access to all the cameras, even the one in the bathroom. Yeah. So like, she was most concerned when that went off, and it was like, 2 or 3 hours later, we were not hearing anything we're hearing from relatives, family members that like, they're like holding their door, they're leaning on their door to make sure the wind doesn't blow it open. And we're like, oh man, this isn't good. I wonder what's going on at the house. And my wife was worried, well, like, we can't do anything to see the level of the creek. Like, even after the storm has blown through, we know the worst is over, but like, we have no idea if the house is going to flood. And, I'm like, yeah, there's really not a good way to do that. So I'm racking my brain trying to figure out some kind of sensor or something where I can get some kind of telemetry data off of it and pull it in somehow. I mean, it's got to work probably on like cellular or something.
They have, so I was looking at this for a friend. They have cameras that you add a cellular chip to, and they'll take photos or whatever and upload it over the cell network. You can access it that way. And they also have the battery or the solar powered panel. So so they're made for, I think some of them they set it up in a forest.
Oh yeah, like a trail cam.
Yeah, similar to that. So if you really wanted to get into that, but they do have those kind of options if you want.
I don't know. I just want a little bit of data. All I need to know is like water is here. And like, if it's gone up to here, then, we can worry a little bit more. But if the water's not there, we shouldn't have to worry.
Just don't even think about it, Seth. I mean, at that point, what's going to happen? You're going to worry about it even more, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the county does have, and I guess if you look in your area, the county or municipality will have like sensors strewn throughout, and generally those sensors are available online, and they report the levels of creeks and watersheds, like rivers and that kind of thing. Usually about every hour or so, and you can pull data from that. I think what happened was their servers went down too until they came back online. There was like a black hole of data there, but like there was a couple hours it was like waiting for the data to show up, and it finally did. So I don't know what happened. I mean, it could have been anything there, but like finally did come back online. And I was able to say, okay, well, based on historic evidence, like if I look back when it did flood, the level right now is not as high as then, and it's going down, like based on like the last couple of readings. So I think we're okay. We can go to sleep. So the water did get high, evidently. It still flooded into my neighbor's swimming pool, which it did on the last big flood thing too, and knocked over a bunch of things. All like the wind damage is crazy around here. And if you're on the beach, I mean, they got hit hard the last couple of storms, and this time, just in a major way. Like there's sand covering everything. I have one client that has like 5 feet of sand on their entire property. Like their swimming pool is full of sand. Like I've been watching them dig it out on the camera.
Did your weather station survive this time?
It did survive. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, without the power, I thought it would save like it's like a few days of data. I've got to call Tempest up and find out if they have a better system, because like when it doesn't have power, it should save inside there like a couple of days worth of data. So I was like, oh, well, maybe when I get back, it'll upload that data and I'll have like how fast the winds went and everything, but no, it didn't. It was gone.
Got nothing.
So
Oof.
that's what I want. I want something that's like more offline and can like report and back up. And then like, if it doesn't report, like save a log or something, so it can be brought back in later. I've got a couple of ideas. I'm exploring a couple of things. So it's that's going to go up on my project board of things to do. Sensors and when the internet's down, kind of thing.
All right, I'll just forget about it from now because we know it won't ever get done. So I won't ask about it again.
yeah, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's all right, Seth. We forgive you.
Let it go. Let it
hurricanes.
Go.
It's just a thought board. You just put things on there you thought about. You never look back at it again.
It says Seth's project list. Oh, one of the things I did not do, but I did have a solution for as I was walking out the door, and I realized that on the ONT, since I hadn't done that first thing on the project list, which says move my ONT over to the rack where the UPS battery backup is, as I was walking out the door, literally shutting the last door, I was like, oh no, the internet doesn't have any backup on it. If the power goes out, like there will be no internet. So I ran to my desk and I grabbed the tiny little APC battery off of it. And I ran over to the ONT and like quickly swapped the plug around and everything. And then ran out the door. So I think with the battery backups that I have, not really intelligently done. Like I should have probably shut down stuff. I still got about 35, 40 minutes out of just running everything electronic, 2 servers and all that stuff. So I could probably shut things down and NAS drives down and all that good stuff earlier and got a little more power out of it. But then again, like the restreamer thing was running on a giant Dell server. So I wouldn't have got much more out of it. But in the future, I'm going to see if I can keep that thing going for days. We'll find it. We'll figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hurricane proof, Seth.
Hurricane proofing, and at least get some sensor data back. At least get it. Like it would be nice, like you said, have something like a camera that does connect to a cell phone tower. Send a picture back of your house, so you know it's destroyed or not.
Yeah. Oh, well, there it is. There it's not.
How long do we have till the next hurricane?
It's next year. Who knows? 50-50 chance.
There was one I saw. Was it Hurricane Oscar or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was coming up your way.
I don't even know about that one.
Yeah. It turned around and went the other way. It's been real nice and cool here for the last couple of days. So like, I think our season's over. Kind of once we get into this weather, the Gulf will cool down and we don't have to really worry too much about them anymore.
Yeah, that's good.
And the iguanas are okay.
Now we got to worry about the iguanas falling out of the trees.
Oh.
That's all there is. So.
That's right. Iguana season.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully we won't have another one of those. It's just like that was I guess the first times that it's hit this area since like the 1920s. So
oh wow.
It's been a long time, and it happens. Nature. What are you gonna do? Luckily, we didn't have any major house damage. I have about $1,000 worth of roof damage to, repair shingles and stuff that flew off. But other than that,
did you try shooting the hurricane? I mean, I don't know if anybody in Florida really tried that.
I mean, there's some people in Florida. I think that's a good idea, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Well, there's been like 10 weeks of news now, but we do have a couple of HomeTech headlines. So what do you guys say we jump into this stuff and get it done?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. First up, big news today. Eero launched its first outdoor Wi-Fi rated access point, the Eero Outdoor 7. It's priced at $350. It's a dual band Wi-Fi 7, offers both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz connectivity, and up to 15,000 square feet of coverage with speeds up to 2.1 gigabits per second. So outdoor rated IP66, works from -40 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold, Gavin. Like that's pretty cold. -40 Fahrenheit and all the way up to 130. That's pretty hot too.
-40 Fahrenheit. Isn't that like 0 degrees?
No. Let's see. That is actually, I think that's -40 centigrade too.
Oh, yes.
So
That's, I think, where it intersects.
That's where they match up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because we go down to -30. So that's good.
Yeah, well, and then if you ever get to 54 degrees Celsius, then you'll also be able to use this access.
Oh, at that temperature, not even the iguanas will survive. So I'm not worried about it.
That's you need to move somewhere else at that point. So, as an Eero dealer, I'm actually really excited for this, and I have to ask, why did it take so long? because I do a lot of Eero installations and outdoor. People want to use their Wi-Fi outside, and other people already have the solution. Like Orbi already has an outdoor unit, and a couple other people do. And so just make an outdoor unit. And it's crazy it's taken this long. But for $350, I'm happy with it. 15,000 square feet. That's a lot of coverage in an open space. So put it up somewhere high and you'll be good to go.
So do you, like, at my place, I don't have an actual dedicated outside Wi-Fi, right? But I have my Wi-Fi is mounted on the wall. It's an what do they call it? On one of the outer walls towards the backyard. And I get a great signal outside. So do people really need this? Because I also have one in my garage though. Right.
Yeah. Well, you've solved the problem by not putting them outside. And I don't think I've never been to your house, but from the pictures, your yard doesn't look particularly big or deep.
Damn.
And so
wow.
I don't.
Like, ouch.
No, I think if you have like a larger outdoor space, and maybe you can't put like an outdoor access or an access point, like an exterior wall like that, I think they make sense.
Yeah.
Or if like you're doing like an outdoor TV or something and you want high speed internet, I think it's worthwhile to have an access point. I'm probably the worst person to ask though, because I have 3 access points on my 1,100 square foot house.
Yeah. So definitely the worst person to ask.
Yeah.
Do you have any access points inside your house, or are they just all out facing?
I do. I have one inside, but I have one in the front of the house and one in the back of the house. And the reason really is for IoT devices, right? Because the front of the house, I have my LifeX landscape lights, and in the backyard, I have whatever I have going on at the time. And so it's nice just to have those dedicated access points for those devices.
I have 4 access points in my little house, but it's like, yeah, I do get great signal outside, but I also, like I said, I strategically place them. So basically they are on different floors, but I also have them on different corners on each floor, almost like a spiral.
Right.
So like, and one of them's in my garage, and even though the garage gets cold, it's still protected from the elements. And I think it's the Flex. No, it's one of the other ones that they say can work outside. So it's been fine. Right. So yeah, this is it makes sense when you have a bigger backyard, and yeah, like you said, if you want to stream like TV or something high speed out there, yeah, it would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of neat too, that it also works as a smart home hub for Thread, Zigbee, and Matter devices. So it's got some dual purpose built into this thing.
It works as a smart home hub. Okay. Yes. With Eero, they have their integration, I guess, into their ecosystem through there.
Well, I think it builds in probably for the Matter devices. They don't have a Thread automation system. It's just going to bring in those devices as a smart home hub.
Yeah. So you said it has Zigbee too?
Mm-hmm. Thread and Thread, Zigbee, and Matter. It says, yeah.
Okay, I see what they're doing.
Eero also uses Eero is also used by like ISPs too. So maybe some of those integrations. I don't know. Maybe they can use stuff for that. I will say like. It also depends, like going back to like, why would you have this? It also depends on like what your house is made out of. Like we have a lot of homes here that are block wall. And then on the outside of that, they do that like chicken mesh, and then they put the plaster over the top of that. Yeah. And so like, it's really hard to get anything outside. Like it's there, but doesn't ever work. And sometimes you really just need to have an access point outside. So, this is great. I like how it's Wi-Fi 7, which is, looked it up. It's not even a ratified thing yet. They say, it's expected 2024, for the Wi-Fi certified 7 program to ramp up. Better late than never, your Wi-Fi Alliance, but here we are. And then Wi-Fi 8 is 2028. So we'll be swapping these things out for Wi-Fi 8. Well, 2028, that means we'll be doing it in 2027. There'll be TV Link will have something out in 2027. Say it's Wi-Fi 8. So
I think one of the things maybe we glossed over this too, but one of the things that's actually kind of cool about this too is that it actually works. It says, and I want clarification on this, but it seems to work as a building bridge as well.
Oh, cool.
Point to point. So in the article, it says the Outdoor 7 also offers point to point connectivity. So two placed in a line of sight can extend a network to other buildings like a shed or garage. So, I mean, that's a good idea for only $350. Obviously, you need two of them. So that's $700. Way more expensive than like the Unify Air Max
Unify has
setup.
a couple, yeah.
But I mean, if you're already in the Eero system and you just want something that's going to be plug and play for $700, heck yeah.
That's the key, is if you're already in the Eero system, like you could just extend it instead of having to switch systems. Because I was actually looking at the Unify one, and they give you like fiber speeds between buildings, right? And I was impressed. I'm not looking to get one, but I was impressed. But if this can give you some kind of speed, that would be great too.
Well, and the Unify stuff works great. I use those for connecting camera systems to separate buildings and stuff like that, and they're rock solid years later. So
supposedly, this is going to be about 20% faster than Wi-Fi 6 speed. So with a theoretical maximum speed of 46 gigabits per second. So
oh man,
that's not going to happen. But
that's fast.
Yeah, if you're like sitting right on top of the device, I suppose. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Nice to see outdoor products. Outdoor anything come from Eero. That's kind of nice. This is their first, right? They don't have They don't have a Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 5. They just have.
No, they literally don't have an outdoor unit.
Yeah,
this is their first one, so it's always been annoying.
Well, it says here that it was tested in extreme environments, including Arizona heat and 100-mile-per-hour wind tunnels. So it might have held up here.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's what FedEx was dropping off at your house.
Right. I would never know. No one will ever know. Oh man, too bad. All right. Well, in case you were wondering, yes, we do have Sonos news this week because they have unveiled the Arc Ultra soundbar and the Sub 4.
Woo!
Yay! And they've also done improvements to their mobile app. Yeah. Blah blah blah. We hear that every week. All right. So the Arc Ultra, priced at $999, $1,000,
$999
is an enhanced version of the original Arc. Has the new Mate. Did anybody listen to how they pronounce this? MAYHT? Mate?
That's how,
I don't know.
I don't know.
The new speakers that they've been talking about for a couple of years now.
The company they bought.
Yeah, they bought a company. And then they got these speakers and they put them in this thing, and now they're charging $1,000 for it. So. And then they also have a new subwoofer, which all I could figure out that it comes in a matte finish now instead of shiny finish. So there you go. The new is, I think, it's the same price too.
Yeah, why even release the new sub?
Yeah, that confused
just
me
keep the
too.
same
Yeah.
sub. Just call it sub. You're not going to change it. Why do you got to make a new version?
I mean, if Apple can release phones and make a big deal about a new color, I guess they can do too, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's the same size, same look, probably the same sub. It just has different paint on it. So, they could write a number 4 on it and no one would really
Well, honestly, I would be interested in the soundbar if I wasn't boycotting Sonos right now, because the regular Sonos Arc I've never thought was that good. My play bar sounds better than the Sonos Arc, especially for the cost. But I don't know if it's worth paying an additional $200. I mean, I don't know. $1,000 for a soundbar is a lot of money.
So is this going to replace the Arc, or are they going to have both of them? Do you see
sounds
people
like they're going to have both.
Do you see people with the Arc, running out to upgrade their Arc to this one now?
See, I feel like they should just drop the regular Arc price to like $600 or $700 and then have this one. That'd be the best idea.
as a $400 upgrade. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then it's like you just have a better one, but it's Sonos and Patrick Spence doesn't know how to run a company, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere either. It would be nice. It would be nice if you could do this and then have, more speakers somehow rather than just a soundbar surround sound one of these days. Sonos, you'll figure it out. But
yeah,
got new speakers.
You know how many more like speakers people would buy if they just like opened up like the fronts to have like 3 separate channels? Like people would instantly buy like 3 Era 300s.
Yeah,
instantly.
I probably would. I mean, those things sound great, and you put 3 of them. Or you put 5 of them in a room, put 9 of them? I don't know.
Gosh.
Come on.
Sell me 11 speakers, Sonos. Just do it.
Not know how this works.
You can just tilt them at different angles.
Yeah, let me give you money.
Let us hook up 4 subwoofers. Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah. Open it up.
It's just sub 4. That doesn't mean you can have 4 subs. It's just one sub. I guess you can have 2. You can have 2, right?
Yeah, you can still have 2.
2.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are asking just to be able to add the 2 front speakers, like,
Yes.
why don't they just allow us to do that? We'll buy more speakers.
That's what I'm saying.
Headphones, guys. The future's headphones.
Oh, we forgot to put that news in there, but we might as well talk about that too. Sonos has been rumored to create another pair of headphones and drop the current headphones down in price. So they're going to come up with a more premium brand of headphones because I guess when you're down, you might as well just double down, right?
And what will these new headphones do? Just sound better?
I don't know.
Will they have become a zone?
That would be hilarious, right? Is if they gatekeeped it and they're just like, hey, look, you have these headphones and they work exactly how we said, but now we have these new headphones for the same price and they work as a Sonos zone.
Yeah, so I found the report. It was over on Forbes. Sonos introduces its first headphones earlier this year, the Sonos Ace, and now they're rumored to going up market. They're going to reach some more premium ones, and then these are going to be discounted. I don't get this. Knock $50 off the price of the current model and then sell a more upscale version at $450. Some Sonos employees are skeptical that the move would succeed, but the discussions show that the company realizes it has a problem. This is rumors from Mark Gurman. So
a problem?
Couple
Who
of
is
them.
that?
I'll put links to this in the show notes. If you want to check it out, you can. More Sonos news all the way down. This next story here I have labeled as Sonos, but it's not Sonos. It's the vacuum, the void that's being filled in from the vacuum of Sonos dropping the premium brand. Wiim, which we've talked about here on the show, is forming a partnership with Audio Pro to leverage their operating system, and put their software on the products that a speaker company offers. So CE Pro has the story. Wiim is partnering with Audio Pro to integrate its Wiim OS into the Audio Pro's speakers, the A10 and the C10 MK Mark II, I guess is what you call it, MK2. This collaboration merges Audio Pro's longstanding expertise in speaker design with Wiim's user-friendly OS, which just like the old Sonos app.
The good one.
The good one. So this is kind of neat. They're dropping the Wiim OS right on into these smart speakers. Yeah, I assume there's a processor and computer in there and everything. The C10 MK2 is priced at $299 and the A10 MK2 is $399 and it's available through various retailers. Pretty smart move by Wiim. I always thought Sonos was going to do this, especially after they partnered with IKEA to make speakers. It seemed like the thing to do, team up with somebody who makes speakers and put your smart software, because that's literally what you are, in there and make the speakers smart. But they never did it. They never pulled it off, other than IKEA.
Yeah, and those random works with Sonos AV receivers.
It's just few and far between, right?
Right. Right. I didn't want to make it a credible thing, but had to mention it so that nobody commented about it.
And I have nothing bad to say about Wiim. I have one of their devices. I can't remember which one it was, but it's set up with some speakers and I use it and it just works, right? I think they're making a lot of good moves. And they got a number of years ahead of them. I think we'll see them come out pretty big. And they have a good price.
Yeah, good price. Solid software, solid copy of Sonos' old interface. So, yeah, if you enjoy the old interface that Sonos had, head on over to Wiim. They've got you covered. All right, let's move on here. In lighting news, Philips has rolled out a new update to its Hue app. It introduces customizable lighting effects, allowing users to adjust the intensity and color of effects. Update includes 4 new effects: Cosmos, Underwater, Enchant, and Sunbeam, expanding the total up to 10. Users can now modify existing effects like candle and fireplace the candle and fireplace simulations, change the base colors and adjusting the brightness and speed. It's pretty cool. It's a little interface update, and it kind of lets you customize things a little bit further. I like seeing this because I like how this has been implemented in the Philips Hue app to make something like these effects are not easy to do on the programming side of things. When you are using something like WLED or which has a hot garbage of an interface. I was just going to say that. So it's free software. So, you get what you pay for. But the interface to set up like these types of effects is just horrible. And I think Philips does a great job of making their lighting effects approachable. So yeah, I'm happy to see this.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I've looked into doing a lot of like the DIY lighting projects, like you've mentioned WLED and stuff like that, and they all seem really cool and really affordable and flexible and all that stuff. But then I look into the rest of it, and I don't know. I can't do the programming side of things in a clean way.
Yeah.
And I prefer to have like the Nanoleaf app or the LifeX app or whatever it is, show me those and let me edit them and everything like that. So I think that is one of those things that I do like it internet connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And like this article mentioned Govee too. I will say that Govee has done a pretty good job. They don't let you, they kind of keep you kind of like hands off a little bit. There is a place that you can go and kind of like make your own lighting effects. Like I have those color wall things and you can kind of draw something on it. But it's very like there's guardrails around like what it actually allows you to do compared to what you can get involved with like WLED or anything else and sequencer software and a lot of fun stuff. Like that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. But making this kind of stuff work and approachable, I think Philips has kind of led the way on that. They've been kind of behind the ball and letting people edit these effects, but now I think they're. It looks like they've made a pretty nice interface to go through and kind of like edit this stuff and put effects together. Moving on here, real quick, we got some lock talk this week. We've got Kwikset dropping some new Halo Select touchscreen locks on us. This is their first smart lock that's going to support the Matter standard. And the lock offers some flexibility, allowing users to choose between Wi-Fi and Matter over Thread connectivity. So, TJ, I know you're happy about that. You can't use them both at the same time, though. You got to pick. So, TJ, I'm sorry. You pick Wi-Fi Matter or Matter over Thread. Which one?
I feel like at this point I would do Matter over Thread.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems solid.
All right. Well, and mid-November, come up with $279 and you can have one. So
well, I'm not gonna buy one because my whole house is Yale, which uses the Schlage keyway in my instance. But honestly, I am kind of upset because this lock actually looks decent. It's not like, I don't know, it's not ugly looking. It kind of just looks like a normal lock in a way. And you got two different Wi-Fi or two different wireless technologies you can use there. So I think this is a win, especially for their first lock in 5 years. That's crazy.
You see the battery life on the Thread connectivity?
Ooh, I did not. What is it?
So 6 months on Wi-Fi and up to 9 months with a lithium-ion battery pack, and then the Thread connectivity goes up to 12 months or more. So
yeah, there you go.
Full year from Thread. Yep. Yeah.
And honestly, like outside of a few, like I guess if you wanted like the NFC or the fingerprint or something like that, this lock obviously isn't for you. But for me, I just want my lock to like work, and I don't need like a bunch of frills and everything like that. And I let my automation system do all the controlling of the lock. And so for somebody that might want a lock where they're going to integrate it with like Apple HomeKit and stuff like that, and they just want to be able to program basic codes, that's a good idea to get a lock like this. Because personally, like I don't want fingerprint locking and iris scanning and whatever else. I want a lock.
I totally agree. And you know what? I'm happy to see Matter devices popping up like this, right? Even though I'm in a period in my smart home where I've been ripping out everything Matter. Honestly, like,
don't tell Daniel.
I know, I feel bad. I gave it a shot, but things just keep going offline, and I have to go and I reboot the Apple TV and everything comes back online. Or, in the case of the Acquire motion sensors, I've seen other people report this too, but false triggers, and I had automations for lights based on them, and people are saying in the house that these lights are turning on their own, and it would just false trigger. And I looked at everything like bugs or the heat maps or like vents or whatever. That's not where their old Zigbee sensors work perfectly fine, right? So I've just kind of given up on Matter for now, just because I've had too many problems with it, and I may revisit it again later. But it's good to see more Matter and Matter over Thread too. Just like, I'm not a fan of the Matter over Wi-Fi because of the battery life, as you see, but Matter over Thread, it's good to see that too. And
we do have one more story here in Lock Talk. Ecobee, the smart lock maker. I don't know. Ecobee has expanded its smart home capabilities, integrating with Yale and August smart locks into its ecosystem. The partnership allows users to control their smart locks directly through the Ecobee app. I was going to say through your thermostat. The integration supports Yale and August Wi-Fi enabled smart locks, such as the Yale Assure 2 and August Wi-Fi smart lock. There you go. This I don't know what to think about this. Ecobee is like dead last on insisting that they're going to make a home automation and security system ecosystem. And it's like better late than never. Here they are. They don't want to just be like one piece of the puzzle. They want to help out with all of them. So good for you, Ecobee.
Hey, I'm fine with this as long as they don't try to release a smart lock, because then we know that Ecobee is kind of over, right? So the partnerships and the integrations I'm fine with, because the more stuff I can do from one app, that's cool. And as long as it doesn't cost the users anything extra. So we'll probably read in a year or two when Ecobee is like, we're going to release a smart lock.
Yeah, I mean, they already have a doorbell. So they already have sensors and, door and window sensors for their security system. So yeah, I would say smart lock's probably right around the corner. I have no idea, but I would suspect that you're probably right, TJ. Give it a year. We'll see a smart lock.
If not, Sonos will make one. So.
You're not far off. That's probably going to happen. But I'm guessing the Ecobee integration is cloud-based. I'm guessing that. I wouldn't be surprised. That's the one reason I would not jump on this at all, because I get notifications every time their services are down, and they go down quite often for me. Right. So if it is cloud based, the last thing you want is you can't unlock your doors because their server is down. You do not want that. So I'd rather keep it separate. Go just set it up in Home Assistant or something else.
I don't know if there's a local API. I'm not familiar enough with the Yale Assure 2 and the August Wi-Fi smart lock. If there's a local API and they could do local control, I suspect they would do that, because the Ecobee thermostat could reach out and contact them locally. But yeah, you're right. If it's something that's got to go up and down to the cloud, that would be no fun, especially during a hurricane. You can't unlock your doors. Oh yeah, that's one thing. I had my Ring alarm system armed, and the power went off, and slowly it dies. So again, I get an email saying, "Oh, you're on cellular," and it's like, "Oh, we're turning off the cellular to save battery," and then it's like one last dying breath. It's like, "Hey, please plug this in." And then like a few days later, it's like, it's gone. It reminded me now that I have to plug it back in, because when I got home, I unplugged it so it wouldn't, turn on in the middle of the night if the power came back on, and like suddenly there are people in the house and there shouldn't be. So yeah, I think it's still armed. When I plug it back in, it'll be armed. So I'll have to quickly disarm it when I do that. Never mind. I'll have to do it after the show. Get on that. Well, maybe I'll wait till tomorrow morning when people are awake. So it's probably a good idea. All right, let's move on here. Arlo, got some little few security stories here. Arlo is introducing its first wired floodlight security camera. Offers continuous recording and illumination by connecting directly to the Wi-Fi and a power source. It's priced at $149. The wired floodlight camera is more affordable than Arlo's $250 wireless Pro 3 floodlight camera. And while the wired system is more challenging to install, Arlo claims that it is a simple DIY setup. Yeah, because you've got to hook it up to power, right? Camera shares same features of the Pro 3, including 2K HDR, 160-degree field of view, color night vision, and a built-in siren. It's got 2,000 lumens of brightness. I gotta say, it's actually not a bad-looking camera thing. Floodlight camera. I've seen some ugly ones in my day, and this one looks okay to me.
I can't remember. Is Arlo cloud-based?
I think it's a local.
Do they offer like RTSP or OnVIF or anything like that?
I'm going to have to cut this out because we'll get yelled at.
Yeah, we're going to get yelled at for this, but I do not think so. Last I knew they were not, but I have not personally touched one.
They got 30-day cloud storage for recorded videos and creating custom alerts when people, animals, vehicles, and packages are detected.
Yeah, honestly though, it's not an ugly camera, because for some reason a lot of people have decided to make floodlight cameras stick out and look like aliens, and I'm not really sure why anybody wants their camera to like stick out even more. Maybe it's like the notion that like if somebody sees a camera, they're not going to commit a crime. But most of the time, people just look at video doorbells when they're stealing packages off porches. So I really don't think they care that they see your camera. So just make it look like a normal light fixture.
I always felt that way too, because when I was researching floodlight cameras, now this was a few years ago, but I was researching floodlight cameras and I just wanted something that looked like a normal floodlight, was direct wired, offered local streams and everything. And I ended up on Foscam, but I feel like everything that was offered always had some kind of downside, whether the quality wasn't good. Because I also have an Amcrest floodlight camera too, and even that quality is not good. Like, it's not the best quality. Like, I get jealous when I see these other cameras, but the floodlight, if you have the floodlights out there already, the hookup's so easy. The power is already there. You know, it works over Wi-Fi. Like, it's just an easy. I don't have to drill through anything. You know, so I wish that like sector got a little bit more love, and they gave, unless there's something out now, a normal looking floodlight with great, you know, like starlight night vision and local streaming and not cloud based. You know, if a listener knows of something, feel free to let me know, but that's kind of what I'm looking for.
That's kind of where I am. I need to send you guys pictures of what my Ring cameras look like right now, because I have like some of the original Ring floodlight cameras, like right when they came out. I bought 2 of them. It made sense, just like what you're saying. It was a really easy thing to hook up and get going. I had a camera looking at my driveway and my backyard to see what was going on. And I got a floodlight out of it, right? Like, why not? But now they have certainly aged. The IR filter, I think, is blown out in them, so they pretty much don't even see anything at night. And with the recent hurricane, like, it just threw some dust up on them, so the IR light or whatever reflects back onto them, and you can't see anything at night anymore.
I think that happened to me once with the IR filter, and what I had to do was actually just go and flick it, like on the side, because it would get stuck. And then if you flicked it, kind of like it got it unstuck. I can't remember if that was my Ring camera or my Foscam camera, but just tapping it on the side, almost like you're banging the side of the TV back in the day, you know? It just put it back in business. Yeah, and it got it back in business. So
reach up there with a broomstick and hit it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I gotta say that the camera, like, well, even if I did whack it and it somehow made that work, the camera image is poor, if not disturbingly poor, compared to the 4K cameras that I have hooked up now from Uniview, and even the ones from like Ubiquity that I have. Like, those are 2K at most. Like, those look great compared to this thing. So like, I'm kind of over them, and I'm kind of over Ring in general. I think we talked about that with their price hike that's going to hit me at some point. So I need to start working my way out of them. And I think, given how good these other cameras that I have are looking and how well they're working, I think I'm going to like pop the Rings out, put some regular floodlights up, and just use them kind of like maybe make them smart. Maybe I'll put little smart modules in like you did, Gavin, and have them be able to flick on and off when I want them to. But for the most part, I probably won't need them with the cameras that are out here with that day-night view. I mean, that looks, you can see the color of the grass, color of the sky and everything. It looks like it's daytime. So I may give those a shot.
HomeSeer had a great Z-Wave module with motion sensing, light sensing, all that type of stuff for controlling stuff like that. So if you just wanted like smart like floodlights, I had that, and they work great. That worked great.
HomeSeer? Okay, yeah, I'll check that out. I've got the Z-Wave module right here, so whenever I'm ready for that,
let me know. I could probably send you my old ones.
Board. Z-Wave install right over here. Do I have that on here already? No, I don't. All right, let's get it on the list. Z-Wave. No, I have hook up the dongle on here. That's on there.
You didn't specify what dongle.
That's true. All right, well, plug in dongle. Yeah, let's fix that this week and just make sure that I know that's the Z-Wave dongle. So yeah, when I get that going, I'll have a Z-Wave network at my house, and I can put that. Actually, I think I already do technically have a Z-Wave network, because they have the Ring stuff, right? So like it's all Z-Wave. They have a extender thing for their keypads, and I had to plug that in. So I ran across that the other day. I forgot I unplugged it in. I have these plugs like underneath the cabinets that you really can't see. Like instead of the plugs on the backboard, a splash board, whatever, like they're up under the cabinets. And I forgot I had plugged it up in there. And I was doing something the other day and realized, what's that? Oh, it says Z-Wave on it. Oh, it's a Ring extender. I forgot I even plugged it in. So I probably could use that too.
I have more Zeus double switches if you need them too.
Send them on over. I'll swap you for some stickers that I found.
Oh, well, that's
Wait, before we send them anything, let's like encourage them to finish a project first.
I was gonna say, if you don't finish it within 2 weeks, you have to send them back.
Yeah. Oh, no, this doesn't sound fun at all. All right, let's move on here. One more security related story from Simply Safe. They are launching the Active Guard outdoor protection. It's a live monitoring service for home security. We've heard about a couple of these before, but the system uses a new outdoor camera with both on-device and cloud-based AI to alert a call center agent about potential threats. So something walks through at the wrong point of time, it triggers off, a person was detected, probably not supposed to be here during this time, system's armed, and a real person will look at it and call emergency services if needed. So kind of cool. It actually lets them yell at the people too. So they can go on the little cameras and say, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And if they don't leave, then they'll call the cops on them. Active Guard, previously in public beta, is now available to all Simply Safe users, priced at $50 a month for overnight monitoring and $80 for 24/7 coverage. Not bad. Way more affordable than Ring. I think Ring had $100 per month service, and not bad.
I like this, and I want all like connected smart cameras to start offering this. Because I just think this is such a good idea in general. And it can tell you so much more than just like a traditional alarm system, right? Because a traditional alarm system, it sees a sensor and it's like, hey, that sensor's not supposed to do that right now. And then it calls the cops after calling a couple other people. Mm-hmm. And with a camera, at least they can look in and be like, no, that guy should not be crawling underneath that car right now. We should probably call the cops.
They shouldn't be messing with it. Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. And I'm excited to see this starting to come to more cameras.
Yeah, there's got to be some. I mean, maybe it is Simply Safe that's doing this. I can't remember how big of a company they are, but like, there's got to be some generic call center company that has white labeled their services with an API that these companies like Ring and Simply Safe could subscribe to, I guess, and then resell it. That's got to have been out there. So yeah, interesting. It's coming. So the camera is $200, and then what does it cost? $50 a month. So not bad. I mean, really, really not bad. If you need something like that, if you're worried about things happening overnight, people walk. That would actually be better than most security systems. If it had the ability to catch somebody coming up to the house that shouldn't be there, or in your backyard when they shouldn't be there, and then communicate and say, hey, get the heck out of here, or at any hour of the night, and then call the police if necessary. Yeah, that's actually way better than most security systems.
Well, and I think it's smart too that they broke it into 2 different price ranges. They gave you the option for just overnight and 24/7.
Yeah.
That I think that's a good idea, because a lot of people probably just want the overnight. But
yep, day shift, night shift. You got to pay more. You got to pay more for 24/7. All right, and we've got a safety notice, I guess, from Emporia. They've issued a safety notice regarding the View 2 Smart Energy Home Monitoring Device, the EMC VT2. I guess despite the device being fully UL certified, the ESA, the Electrical Safety Authority, identified that the current transformers that are used with the device were not included in the UL certification and do not comply with certain sections of the Ontario Electrical Safety Code. So if you've got one of these Emporia View 2 smart home energy monitoring devices and you live in Canada, I guess, rip it out, throw it in the trash. No, I think it seems pretty safe. If they just didn't ship the transformers in for the UL certification. I guess UL doesn't even require you to certify the things that are extended off the device. I guess it was just only focused on the main device itself. And it turns out the ESA has different standards and says, no. If they're connected, they need to be certified along with the device. So kind of interesting that this has come up here. This is a Reddit thread. So of course it's a Reddit problem. TJ, you were reading a little earlier that they've kind of made some moves to like help people out, upgrade, give them the option to upgrade to the View 3.
So it's kind of a weird thing, right? Because it doesn't look like it's really that big of a deal. But they're telling people basically if you have these things, you should not use them. And then they're giving you, according to the email at least, they're going to give you a 25% option or a 25% discount code to upgrade to the View 3. It's weird though, because like they're telling you not to use it, but then the emails to people they're saying, well, if you install it, like everything will be fine. And that doesn't sound like a good idea when they're telling you that it's not safe for it. So I don't think it's that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. I kind of wish that they would like maybe give you a 50% off upgrade since you're not technically supposed to be using this anymore. But it kind of is what it is, and it doesn't really affect a large group of people, I would imagine. I don't know.
It's only in Ontario, right? Like,
yeah.
It passes the U.S. certification, right? But just not the Canadian one. So, I mean...
You Canadians are strict up there.
Yeah, probably.
You have standards, I guess.
And I kind of wish this wasn't even an official announcement. It was just an email back to somebody, and they posted on Reddit, right? So if it...
Well, I imagine if you have a View 2, they probably reached out and sent that to you.
I hope so, like, or some kind of official announcement that people, would see it. But yeah, just giving you a little discount for the upgrade. If they tell you to stop using it, right? That should be like instant. We're going to give you a new one. Ship it back to us. We'll give you a new one and let's go from there. But to say, oh, we'll give you a discount on an upgrade for one, I wouldn't be happy with that. If this was Sonos, it would be all over the place. We'd be going nuts.
Right.
Well, it was when they did a recycling program, I guess. But got a little more.
So, what are they calling the transformers? The little devices that clip on? Is that what they're calling the transformers?
I believe so. It's CTs? I think it is. Is that what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, they're saying that those particular things aren't UL certified. I don't know that they have anything in them that would necessarily collect enough electricity to cause a fire or a safety issue, but they're just wires that wrap around another wire.
Honestly, I'm amazed that it's even like UL listed and stuff anyway, just because like it installs in your electrical panel. So
yeah, right. If you gotta have a fire in here, it's gonna be a bigger problem.
Well, and if you see mine, it's like all jammed shut, which I definitely believe is against code.
Yep.
But here's what it is.
I looked at getting one of these. I had one in my cart, and then you posted this story, and I'm like, maybe I want. But I looked at all those wires they have in there. I'm like, where am I going to put those wires?
Oh, it's fantastic, Seth. You just jam it all in there, and you hurry up and screw the cover on there. And then you buy, and if you don't have Phillips head screws for your cover, you buy Phillips head screw covers, so that way you can just hurry up and use a drill on it.
You can run all the wires out of the box, and then you mount the View on the outside and stuff like that. I was actually looking at the View 3. I was gonna grab it, but it's too expensive up here for me to get it. So I'm kind of waiting for it to come on Amazon and be cheaper, but.
Well, and the View 3 is the nice one because that's the one that actually has the trimmable leads. And so the View 2, which is the one that I have, is fantastic, but you have to use the cables with no matter how long they are. And the View 3, it comes with the option to clip them and everything like that. So that is the perfect one to get because you can reroute the wire. In my situation, I could not because I just don't have that much wire.
This is like pre-terminated leads. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's like little mono jacks.
Oh yeah, and so the View 2, I think it was like they're about $200.
Yeah, I think mine was $200 for a 16 amp or 16 circuit one. I'll bring you one, Gavin.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right, Gavin. I was gonna say I already have to like do exactly that little operation that TJ described, where you hold the panel and then you like have to like hand screw in. These
it's fantastic.
Screws from 1969 in my case. That are not Phillips head screws. But yeah, it's already I'm already in that awful situation. So I can imagine like dumping all these wires into my panel and having a place to put them.
Just leave the panel cover off. I mean, what do you need the panel cover for?
True.
Yeah. Just taking up space.
You guys at least have breakers, though. My house is still running on fuses.
Oh my gosh, Gavin!
Yeah,
stop it. It's not running.
Yeah,
on fuses.
I'm still my whole panel is fuses. I'm actually getting a quote to upgrade it to.
How is that even legal?
It's Canada.
Canada.
I don't.
They require you to have UL certification on your CTs, but you can still use those fuses. That's cool. It's 2024.
And I have sub panels where, my sub panels have fuses too. And
oh my god,
yeah, I'm looking to get it, and I have no more room in any of the panels. So to add another line, I'm pretty much I got to upgrade. So I'm getting a quote on it. It's looking like thousands of dollars to get that all upgraded. So
it is a lot of money,
but it's something I pretty much kind of have to do to clean that up.
Luckily, I have an electrician friend that's going to help me out and give me a decent deal because I got a quote the other day from one of the big box store electrical companies, and they wanted $10,000 to upgrade my panel, my meter, and the service wire coming in. And my buddy's going to do it between $2,000 to $4,000. So,
man, I think I'd move.
Be cheaper to sell the house and get another house.
If anybody told me anything in my house right now would cost me $10,000, I'd be like, well, house is going on the market. I'm moving.
Well, luckily it's we're not going with them. So,
man, I know it's a labor intensive thing to do, and you run into all sorts of little problems when you do it, but man,
well, the worst part for us is the meter upgrade and the service line upgrade.
Yeah.
So the wire coming into the house is 200 amp, or coming into the pole is 200 amp. But everything past that is not. So we have to upgrade that. We have to upgrade the meter box, and it's just we have to add a shut off, and so it's just a ton of work.
And you know what? If you're gonna do something that big, you might as well just do it right, and just get it over with, because to do it later will cost even more money.
I need that 200 amp.
And the way I look at it too, you do that on your house, you upgrade to 200 amp, you get it prepared for EV. It's a good resale feature. You put it on the paperwork, EV ready home, 200 amp upgrade, and you can get a few extra bucks that will cover that.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to stick with the Sense thing that barely fits in the panel. It's only 2 CTs and the little Sense module and the 2 wires that run off it. I struggled to get that in there.
The Emporia has that as well. So if you just wanted like the whole house monitoring without the individual circuits, you could get that as well. So you could technically replace your Sense with this.
Well, Sense fakes figuring out when your air conditioner is working and when your other stuff. So like in Home Assistant, I can see that the air conditioner kicked on.
Right.
But I mean, it also doesn't have any idea what some of the other circuits are doing. And I think they have now the ability to break that out, like what Emporia's in. I don't know. It's kind of like the Emporia one's better.
Yeah.
Looks like you get more options.
I still want one. I'm just waiting on the price.
Well, Gavin, I'm coming up to Canada in a couple months. I'll bring you one.
There you go.
For free?
I'm not going to charge you to bring you something. That's messed up.
No, I mean, are you going to pay for it too? Like, do I have to give you
wow. Jeez.
Just let me know.
Now I am going to charge you.
Let me know when you're coming up. I'll have a list of things.
$10,000. Got to pay for that electrical panel upgrade.
Yeah, the Canadian officials stopped me like, what do you do with all these electronics in your trunk? I don't know, officer.
So you can name drop me. They know me at the border.
No, I'm sure they do.
Gavin.
That's that guy that ran over that Tim Hortons person.
All right. Well, we've got a security flaw in Ecovacs robot vacuums, including the flagship D-Box X2, which allows hackers to access devices remotely by Bluetooth and compromise user privacy, potentially. Despite being warned of this vulnerability back in December 2023, Ecovacs has not fully addressed the issue. Imagine that. Security researcher Dennis Geis demonstrated the exploit by hacking the X2 from 140 meters away. I got to tell what that is.
What is that in freedom units?
Wow, 500 feet. Jeez Louise. Okay. That's crazy. Gaining access to both its camera and microphone. The incident highlights the broader issue of inadequate security standards for smart home devices. I always laugh when I see Ecovacs and the robot vacuum, and then think about the one that you got off Facebook, TJ, and you're like, yeah, this one's got to go.
Yeah, I didn't like the camera. I don't know, like the fact that I could just watch the camera whenever I wanted to was creepy to me, and I was just like, nope. That just turned me off instantly, and so I sold it. Not a fan of that.
And it's one thing when you just have a little static camera pointing, in your house, but this one's roaming all over your house, taking pictures of everything. I am really shocked that this story isn't blowing up bigger than it is, because we've had stories about floodlight cameras, with their vulnerability just go insane. And seems not many people talking about it.
This is in the house.
Yeah, this runs around. I guess everybody loves their Ecovac so much they don't want this to blow up, but I am shocked that this isn't a bigger story. Maybe it's hard to exploit. Who knows?
It's very strange. I think you're right, Gavin. If this was like, it's probably the size of the company. Like, I don't think anybody's heard of Ecovacs. If it was like, what's the one, Roomba? something like that. Maybe
No,
it would be a little
Ecovacs
more-
is they're a
little more
popular
traction.
brand. You know, they get a lot of sales when you get the all the Black Friday and the
Yeah, but anyways, like I'm gonna get an Ecovacs vacuum.
yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna get a Roomba or something.
I think
I can't even remember. Yeah, Roomba's like a household name. I wouldn't say Ecovacs is. I don't even know which one I have now. I think it runs in the Me app.
Like, what was the video camera where it just went insane because they didn't encrypt their feeds or something? Like, not Ring. Was it Arlo?
Is it Arlo?
You know the story I'm talking about.
Over
And
at The Verge.
yeah,
It was all of
it
them.
just went insane. It just went crazy. It was just getting covered everywhere constantly. And I think this
It was the Anchor Company. What's the Anchor Company?
Eufy.
was it Eufy? Yeah.
Is it Eufy?
And I think this is even worse, right? And it's just nobody's talking about it. Yeah.
It's totally worse, and they haven't addressed it and haven't mentioned or done anything on it. And the Verge is silent. That tells you what the Verge's motivations were with that Eufy story. Like
That's how I feel.
Well, there you go. Vacuums, not clickbaity. Cameras on the outside of your house, clickbaity. I guess I don't know. Good job, Verge. You steal enough of your stories each week for the news, so you're doing something. All right. Well, all the links to The Verge and topics we discussed tonight can be found over our show notes at HomeTech.fm/502. All right. Got a couple of things in the mailbag. And actually, this is just comments on last week's episode from a friend of the show, Jimmy and Robert. Jimmy writes in, says the Eufy S3 Pro does have a solar panel on top, or it can use the separate panel that TJ mentioned on the show. So yeah, we were looking at it. I couldn't figure out if it
That's what I thought. I mean, that's why I had the black rectangle on there, and I know there are other cameras do, but it just wasn't obvious at the time.
It wasn't obvious,
Jimmy.
and it's like their website doesn't have good it has pretty pictures, but it didn't have the specs and like a thing. What I need is a thing, the classic image with like little red line that draws to it and says this is what this is. That's what I need.
right.
And it didn't have that.
Yeah, and like the cheap, like Photoshop-y, not Photoshop way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Robert wrote in about the comment or two that were made about cloud cameras and how they record. I guess, we kind of like lumped them all in together. I think it was just kind of an offhand comment, but he wanted to let us know that the, basic cameras like Eufy, Wise, and Tapo stream real time to the cloud. That'll use more bandwidth that way. Commercial and pro systems have a hybrid setup with both on-site NVRs and cloud streaming, with more often now, like cloud only options are becoming common. And then cloud only cameras like Verkada Access, they have a little bit of onboard flash memory. They store a little bit of video during the outages and then upload when the connection restores. Apple HomeKit streams to the cloud for live viewing, and clips are stored there on the Apple Home Hub. So there you go. A couple little bits of information from the last show when we were discussing cameras and that kind of thing. I think it's
been so long since we recorded that last show. I
know, right?
I really appreciate these comments, but I don't even remember what I said or what we said. So now I have to go listen back and see what it was, because that was like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I had just, it took me a while to get to edit it. So I know what he's talking about. I remember editing it and listening to it. But yeah, so I know what we're talking about, but it just took a while to get there. So anyway, we've got a pick of the week this week. This is actually pretty cool. This is a new Android 15 feature that turns your phone or tablet into an interactive smart home control panel when it's charging. And I guess it's like, not just for Google Home. So the Google Pixel tablet and Pixel phones running Android 15 can see this now. Like if you've got this, it's a screensaver, and when your phone goes to sleep or your tablet goes to sleep, it turns into a home control like dashboard thing. And this is great. This is brilliant. This is what I want for my iPad, and I want to put a camera on it too. Like I just want to see the front door sometimes. Like this is the right direction. Every tablet should do this for sure.
Not just tablets.
Oh yeah, phones, tablets, like whatever. Like that would be great. Like the iPhone, if you put it on the dock sideways now, it'll have a little clock and like you can customize it. Let me put a camera feed on there and some home control stuff.
Yeah. That's my iPad.
It's great. Yeah, iPad would be great for that. Well, iPad, I guess they can't do the same thing as the iPhone for some reason.
Yeah, turn your phone into a little smart home hub when you dock it at night to go to bed, or something like that. That would be nice use.
Yeah, and then even on the phone, like when you swipe up and down, like you can change out what those things are on there. You can change out what kind of clock is showing. You can go to the pictures or whatever. Like just have a home dashboard. And then when you want to like see, what's going on, you swipe over to the home dashboard and it shows you the few cameras, things that are happening. Every phone should do this. This should be a screensaver option on every phone. So great job, Google. This is awesome. You'll probably kill it in 3 weeks, but whatever. It's great. Good jobs this week. You got the pick of the week. If you have any feedback, comments, questions, good ideas for dashboards for your home, give us a shout. Email address is feedback@hometech.fm, or you can visit hometech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. My projects were a couple of things, but I know TJ's got some projects. TJ's been doing stuff. What have you been doing, TJ?
I've got a ton of projects going on. So I think we're going to talk about it here in a bit, but I might have killed, is it Code Project Code? I don't know what it is.
It's all your fault.
It's all my fault because
this is why we can't have nice things.
I finally decided to get rid of Blue Iris. I was like, you know what? I hate this thing. It gives me all kinds of false detections. It keeps telling me my corn is a person and it's not. And I don't know. I don't want to go in and like program this thing because every time I like open the website, I'm just like, I don't understand any of this, and I'm not going to watch any videos on how to configure it.
For a good price, I can remote in and take care of things for you.
You got expensive.
Like, you're bringing me up some devices, so I mean, I could help you out here.
Oh, now you suck up a little bit. All right, whatever. So when Unify announced the integration with OnVIF cameras, I was like, honestly, I could probably just get away with this. Like my doorbell camera is Unify, and so I'll still get the people detection with that. I won't get the people detection with like my driveway camera or my front yard camera. I don't really care about my backyard camera or my gate camera though. So I just made the decision. I was like, I'm not really using this Blue Iris thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and shut it down. And so I shut it down, and it's just sitting there right now. So I'm all in on Unify right now.
I'm not mad at you. I'm actually keeping a close eye on the Unify thing, because if they get it to a point where it does detection on other people's cameras, or it integrates the OnVIF, I guess, I'm not sure what they're called, the proper profiles and stuff like that, right? So you can get the motion detection and everything from other cameras, then I might be looking at that a little bit more serious. I do so much with my Blue Iris that it's integrated into my home that for me to move off, I have certain requirements, and Unify is moving in the right direction.
Well, according to the Unify World Conference was today in Miami. And there's a lot of hush. I guess people aren't allowed to talk about it, but people are talking about it because that's how the internet works. And supposedly they are talking about what's called the AI key, which is presumably a hardware piece that I would assume probably is similar to like a PoE injector or something like that, where it has some smarts on there to allow you to set up motion zones and stuff with OnVIF cameras in Unify Protect. And so there's been no mention of pricing, there's been no mention of release date or anything like that. But I figured something like that was coming along because, why would you just announce integration with the cameras? Like people are going to want to use the smart features of it. So I can see that being like a $90 or $100 piece, or $90 or $200 piece easily, depending on what they do with it and how many cameras you can connect and everything. So I'm not banking on that. I didn't have time to invest in Blue Iris, and for my cameras, I just want them to work. It's kind of like my car. Every time I get it in, I just want to start it and go. And Blue Iris is not that for me. So
well, I saw the thread that was posted on Reddit. It's been deleted. The post has been deleted, so I can't really see anything. But people are talking in here, about the AI key and how they have all these big dreams about it. So it'll be interesting to see what it is.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping it would just be like a software piece, but the way that Unify Protect is designed is that the AI stuff is done on the camera, not the server. So you have to have that hardware piece. So that's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping just like a Synology pricing scheme set up where you just pay like $50 for a license and they just work. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to have to buy a hardware piece.
I wonder if that AI key is just going to be like you know how they have like the Coral TPU you could just plug in or something like that, and you plug it into their NVR and it offloads the processing and stuff to it. You know, that instead of adding like a GPU or something like that, right? That would be pretty smart.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what they do. Really, the reason that triggered it is I've been looking at some permanent outdoor Christmas lights, guys, or holiday lights, whatever people are calling them these days. You've seen them around. You know, you got the Govee ones, which are really popular. You got Nanoleaf. Seems like a lot of people are coming out with them. And honestly, I never did a Google search for them until recently. And there is even a ton of off-brand ones that are on like Amazon and everything now. They've just exploded in popularity. And so Nanoleaf actually sent me the permanent outdoor lights, and they sent me the holiday string lights to test out. Guys, they are fantastic. Specifically the permanent lights, I have not got to install the string lights just yet. But I got the permanent outdoor lights installed. I kind of did the opposite of like a Seth project. You know, Seth ggets a project and he holds on to it for like 2 months. I got the package, and like literally within like 3 hours of getting the package, they were installed on the house. I just like, and I have a small house, like it's all single story. It's a ranch. Like it's not that big of a house. And I was just doing one side of the house and the front of the house. Installation was super simple. It has a little double-sided tape on the back of the light. You just take that and you just stick it on to the soffit, and it's got some screw holes. And I just ran 2 screws up in there to hold it on to it.
Through the tape?
Through like it's got like a physical mount.
Oh, okay.
And so each light has one built into it. What's nice is that it has double-sided tape and screw holes. And so what I did is I'm installing it. They have, I don't know what the distance is between each light, but let's say like 9 inches between each light. And so what I would do is I would stick one up and get that installed, and then I'd stretch the other one out as far as I could, take the tape off and stick it up there, and then take the mount off and permanently install with the screws. So installation did not take long at all, and they look fantastic. During the daytime, I think they're a little noticeable just for people who are kind of nerdy about that stuff. And my house is not really optimal for this because certain areas I just literally do not have soffits. And so I'm attaching it to like the fascia or the trim board and stuff like that. So that's on me. But they look nice. And at night they're super bright. I think I only have them at like 50% brightness just because my house is low to the ground. I don't need a lot of brightness. But they work great.
Have trim pieces that connect the light things together?
Yeah. So it's basically like wire mold that connects between them. So that way it hides the wire.
Wow. Okay, so that is nice.
Yeah, so it's like a whole package. It's like really cool, and I like the way that they've designed it.
I was going to say, it's a little more expensive than Govee, but if you get more than just a wire with some double-sided tape, I mean, I'll give Govee, like they have a little thing that hooks up similar, but you still see the wire. Mm-hmm. And that's what I just couldn't get past. But this looks more like like when you get done, even with that wire molding and whatnot, that'll look pretty good.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well,
I think it's worth it.
Wonder if I can get this before Christmas time.
Get it installed.
You can get it, but get it installed. Yeah. 2 different things there, Seth.
Yeah, I think it's good. And a lot of their preset themes and stuff like that are pretty nice. We've just been kind of cycling through them. It does integrate with Home Assistant as well. And so I just have it as part of my exterior lighting schedule now. Mm-hmm. And then if I want to change the colors, I can do that through Home Assistant. But I pretty much just do that through the Nanoleaf app because I have their other products as well. I have the hexagon panels and the lines and stuff like that. So I've been a big fan of them so far, and they've worked since I've installed them without any issue.
So it has RGB CW. So does it have white lights you can turn on?
It does.
When you're not wanting. So you can just do warm white instead of color and make your house look normal?
Yeah.
Nice.
Or you can make it look like a haunted house every night with bright red lights, which is what I do.
Yeah. So
I need to I need to get it set up to where it integrates with, I do like an automation with Unify. And so if it detects somebody, it'll like flash the lights and everything like that. I'm working on that. I haven't got to it yet.
And 50 feet or 15 meters, I guess, is $180 right now. And what's the expansion pack? Oh, if you need 5 more meters, it's $56. Mm-hmm. And then you can get it in at 30 meters for, I guess it's $350, technically $332 on sale right now. And if you need 147 feet or 45 meters, that is going to be a whopping $530 for $500 on sale right now. So, it looks, I got to say, it looks one of the nicer kits that I've seen. It looks very nice.
Yeah, the only thing I wish, I think you can do this unofficially, but I wish you could splice the wires, because they do give you like certain trim pieces and stuff to where you can like hide the wire and stuff like that. But when I go around certain bends, it's not really possible to hide the wire in my situation. And so it'd be nice to cut the wire and make it shorter and stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's a big deal breaker. So
yeah, that's always the problem with these, is that, to make sure that they're IP67 and waterproof, like you would have to have IP67 splices, which would be massive.
Yeah.
Like it would probably be the size of a light, right? And so like they're probably not able to do that. But yeah, it does look like they have like little jumper cables and things that you can install, which is nice. Yeah. I don't know. This looks pretty nice. I like it.
I think it's a good option, especially if you're looking for permanent outdoor lights. And the Nanoleaf app is not a dumpster fire like a lot of other apps. So, like the Twinkly app, for example. But we don't need to talk about that. And I have a lot more projects, but this is one I'm going to wrap up on today. We'll talk about the other ones later. I have had family staying with me for the past basically month. I think whenever the hurricane hit Florida, the day before that or 2 days before that, I had my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law come to stay with us. My sister-in-law just had a baby like a year ago, and so we got to see her child, and it's actually our godson too, which is kind of nice. But they're staying with us for a month now, and it's made me realize that I really need to create a guest mode for my automation system. Typically, I'll just disable like certain rooms. Like if Nicole's going to go take a nap, we'll just disable like the motion of the bedroom or something like that. But I've never really had a reason to disable stuff, because people typically don't stay with me, and they don't stay with me for very long if they do stay with me. But when they stay with you for a month, they don't want the lights to turn on in the guest room when they're sleeping in there. And they don't want the speakers to turn on when their baby is sleeping at 7:00 at night. And so I had to come up with some sort of guest mode. I know, right? I was like, well, you're kind of ruining the party here. So I've started creating a guest mode. And I don't know, it's pretty all right, but I feel like I'm missing something. So I think I'm gonna have to pick Gavin's brain about it and see what he's doing over there. He's got a guest mode. Yeah,
I got a guest mode. And basically when I was designing my smart home, everything has a manual control for it. Like, I didn't want to explain to people or show them a touchscreen or a dashboard or, worry about, don't flick off these lights. No, everything has a switch and works the same way as you would normally see it. Like the most confusing things probably are the blinds, because they have another switch on the wall, but I have little icons on them. So hopefully they look at the switch on the wall. And if they happen to pull it open, they automatically open on their own anyway, right? So for my guest mode, I disable stuff that is automated that would be inconvenience or something they'd have to not know about. And stuff like, part of my automation is when we all leave the house, the doors lock and the alarm arms, right? So guest mode stops that from happening now, because I don't want to have to add all their phones in for the auto detection and stuff like that, right? And they know when they leave the house, they'll lock the door manually themselves anyway, right? So they don't need the automatic thing. So that's pretty much it's that. And then my night routine would kick in at a certain point, and it does things like close blinds and turn off lights and stuff like that. But in guest mode, I've disabled that, because if your guests are up late, you don't want everything just turned off on them and scares them. So I disabled that, and when they're ready to go to bed, they know to just turn off all the lights and lock the doors, and they do it the manual, just the way they would do it in a non-smart house, right? So that's kind of my thought process around the guest mode. And it's worked out pretty well. I've had guests stay at the house and no complaints or anything like that, right? So something to consider.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Well, that's all I wanted to discuss this week. What projects do you have going on, Gavin?
Oh, where do I start? First of all, I'm not hating on you for checking, your Blue Iris hate right now. I totally understand.
It sucks.
Yeah. And reading in the forums, Code Project, for those that don't know, is the main AI engine for Blue Iris. And it looks like they're having some drama over there. The main developers seem to have stepped back from it and maybe put it on GitHub, and there's some changes going on. They didn't know how they were getting funding for it. So I don't know what's going to be happening with Code Project, or even with Blue Iris's integration with Code Project, whether they changed that. Even worse for Blue Iris, their payment system hasn't paid them since May. They announced whoever they were going through, I think it was Digital River or something like that.
What?
Yeah, they said anybody that's renewed since May, they have not gotten paid for, and they had to quickly switch over their payment system, but they're still honoring anybody that's ordered it because it's not their fault, right?
Wow.
So the poor Blue Iris guys, they're just getting hit hard. I feel it. So I also took a look at Frigate. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it. You can run it in a Docker, and it was getting a lot of love out there, but honestly, you guys would hate it. It's YAML configuration.
All YAML. Yeah.
I think I could just stop there.
Oh, this sounds better than Blue Iris already.
It's pretty much all YAML, but it's highly configurable, highly integratable. I played with it for a bit, but I didn't like. I like the YAML because I can configure a camera and copy and paste that section quickly, and get all my cameras set up that way. But I also didn't like the YAML because configuring certain things was just a headache, right? So they have a lot of UI they got to work on, and eventually I'll take a look at it again in the future. So I played around with that. Moving on, just a public service announcement. If you have a RAT GDO, and you were using it with MQTT, and you were running with the issue where it would stop responding every now and then, looks like they replaced the fix, and I've upgraded my firmware and I haven't had issues since. So that was the only thing that was giving me problems with it, and now it just works beautifully every time, right? So I'm just happy they found a fix. Another thing I did in the last 4 weeks since we last recorded, I redesigned my dashboards.
Oh.
So I've converted all my dashboards over, and this is a little bit more advanced, but it's worth, considering. I've converted them all over to macros, right? And what that means is now all my dashboards are dynamic. When I get a new device, a new temperature sensor, for example, I place it in the room, and I'll label it with a temperature label, and it automatically shows up in the places on the dashboard perfectly. I don't have to go and edit 10 different dashboards. It will it'll put it on the room dashboard. It will put it on the device dashboard. Everywhere it's supposed to be, it will put it there. So it's all based on labels and areas, and even floors, all my dashboards. So I used to have about 30 views of things. I've compressed that to less than 10 views now because everything's generated on the fly and it works really well. So, if you're looking at a way to automate your dashboards, look at doing it through macros, right? It takes a lot of work, but in the end, the automation saves you a lot of time. So I've been playing around with that. And the reason I was redesigning it is because 24.10, the Home Assistant release, caused me so many problems. And it's the little things they changed that broke a lot of things, like the case sensitivity in MQTT. All of a sudden, all these things were breaking because I had capital T in true or capital F or whatever it was. It was it now requires it to be lowercase or uppercase. I can't remember right now, but so many things. So I spent like a week fixing my Home Assistant after that upgrade because they made all these little changes, and they don't announce a lot of these. This is stuff I just found out after I upgraded, and it's like all my Blue Iris just took a dump and it stopped working, and that affected a whole bunch of stuff. So that's another thing. One question I have for you guys, when it comes to your racks that you set up, right? So my rack is in the basement, right? And my rack has cobwebs all over it. It's in the basement. It has cobwebs, and the wife said, it's probably because I haven't touched them in a long time, right? So, I went down there and I moved my rack around, jiggled it a bit, and got all the cobwebs off of it. But I was also thinking, how do you keep the cobwebs off your rack? Like, do you guys in the pro spaces and whatever spaces, like, do you guys even consider that? Do you just set up a rack and leave it? Or do you like put anything in to keep spiders off of it? Or, you know, like, do you even think about it? Right? Because seriously, I had a lot of cobwebs around my rack, right? And they just love the warmth. They love, you know, whatever it is, you know? No, serious question. Do you guys consider anything like that?
You don't get in there and dust it out each week with the vacuum?
Yeah,
mine's been running so great. I haven't gotten down there in probably a few months at least, and these spiders were all over it. So
why do you have to dust it off? Are the spider webs affecting like your speeds or something? I'm confused.
Well, they're just it was a lot of cobwebs, and then I had a camera on top of the rack, so it was starting to go in the camera and stuff like that, and spiders just bug me. One thing I did look up, you know, like natural deterrents of spiders, and I brought peppermint spray.
Oh yeah.
And people said this helps repel the spiders. So I sprayed it around the rack a bit, like in the ceiling area and just along the top of the rack, because I put a cover on the rack, and it smells really nice down there now. So I want to see if this helps. But I was always curious, like, do you guys even worry? Does it affect the machinery at all? Because if
you're the first person to ever bring this up.
I always think about it though.
I think we're in uncharted territory here.
I've seen computers that people have opened up and there was a snake in there. You know, do you guys ever worry? Okay, a pro installer in Australia, do you ever worry about stuff like that? Like, you open up, you know, you're going to service a rack and there's a big spider in there. I hate spiders, as you can tell, you know?
Have you ever had a gator in your rack, Seth?
Not.
I feel like that would be a real worry, right?
Not yet. I did discover a snake in the garage one day. Like, it did after one of those floods. There was a little snake crawling around in the middle of the floor.
But it wasn't in your rack, though, right? It wasn't in your rack. On the floor is one thing. Like when bugs, or if you got a little mouse in there, when it affect the electronics or something, you know, like.
I guess, but I mean, to answer your question, the pro thing to do is just like not do anything, because
that's another service call.
It's a service call.
All right, it's a money making business then, you know?
Exactly.
Maybe I gotta sell some like rat guard or something like that will keep
rat guard.
Go register the
You need
domain.
a little laser point, little lasers.
Yeah, to shoot out the little
friggin' laser beams.
Oh, yeah. Something. I was always curious about that, but I'm gonna let you know how this peppermint works. Right? Because I get a lot of spiders.
If you didn't spray it in the rack, though, that's the only place now that they'll go. They'll be like, they're
bungeeing down from the roof. Right?
They're bungeeing down from the roof.
And the only reason I say that.
Are you sure they're not trying to steal your server?
I don't know. They're trying to steal my data, but they're bungeeing down. And I saw it on the camera because I set up a little camera and I saw them bungeeing down from the roof. So I sprayed along the roof and I sprayed on top of the rack so that they'll say, nah, I don't want to go down there anymore. You know, maybe I should have sprayed on the ground so they wouldn't jump up. But I'll deal with one thing at a time, and I'll let you know how the peppermint works.
All right.
You know, but I was curious about what you guys do, but I guess, yeah, it's a service call. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never experienced this issue, so
I don't know how many racks you have in a basement like that. I don't know. Like,
I've had people request for me to turn their Wi-Fi off at night, but not to clean up their spiders.
Oh, well, I may be a first. When you come up here to visit, you can, you know, get the spiders off my rack.
Oh, I'm not coming to Canada now.
And then the last thing I was playing with this week is really this just kind of blew me away. I was playing with a new plugin called LLM Vision in Home Assistant, and basically it integrates your cameras with like ChatGPT or Mod or whatever AI solution you have. Now, it's first thing I did was, you know, basically you're sending your camera feed up to them and asking them questions, and they look at the camera feed and they determine. So you can send either just an image, you can send a clip of like a video clip, or you can actually send the stream and it will analyze the stream. So I was playing around with it and doing things like, you know, sending the streams for outside, and I would just ask the question, is there anything interesting going on outside? And it would actually describe everything outside and tell you what's happening outside. I was blown away by this, right? Just by how good it was and how fast it was. So one thing I integrated it with, I use it with OpenAI, and I've always had an issue with snow and rain, right? So my cameras, when they do their AI detection, snow and rain always triggered them because it would trigger a person. And I could never get this right, and even with cars that drive by and the reflection off my car, all of a sudden say a person's there. And I had an automation that would do something like, if somebody was in my driveway at night when the alarm was enabled, it would wake me up and let me know, right? But the problem is I had to disable that because I got too many false notifications. Well, now I take that notification and then I feed it to OpenAI and I say, is there somebody in the driveway? Tell me yes or no. And then based on the response, I will then trigger, and it has totally taken care of all false notifications. So it actually looks at the feed. It says, no, there's nobody in the driveway. And then it doesn't notify me. And it works awesome. Amazing. And I'm probably going to integrate it a bit more once I determine like the cost aspect of it, because you have to have the API you pay. It's using like cents, like not much right now, but like when you start getting into like, is there an animal in the backyard? When my camera thinks there's an animal or Code Project thinks there's an animal, I'm using the AI just to confirm if there's an animal or no animal there.
Yeah.
Right. And it will then get rid of that. And it adds a couple extra seconds, but for critical situations where you don't want any false positives, I thought this was amazing. And there's so many things you can do about it. People do with it. People are coming up with ideas, but it adds another level of AI to, like your cameras, like, my original idea that I played with was, if a dog was detected on my front lawn, is this dog taking a crap? And if it is, then I'll notify him.
Does that work?
It was having an issue determining the difference between crap and pee, and I couldn't really determine, because the dog looks similar doing different things.
You got to go over time. You have to like a before and after, like this, and the stance is usually the same, right?
Yeah,
So you can't have a history of that dog too, though.
Yeah, so
that's true.
It knew the dog was doing something, but it couldn't determine which one it was. And I was only interested in number 1 or number 2. I don't know. I lost my numbering. But that's another cool idea that people could do. Or you could say, is that a mail? When it detects a person in your driveway, is it a mailman? And it will tell you it's a mailman. You can say, okay, the mail's coming, right? Stuff like that. Like it's so much smarter than just like person, car, animal. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in that, take a look at LLM Vision. You can find it on GitHub and in the Home Assistant forums.
That does sound pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'd use it with Blue Iris.
Nah.
And that pretty much sums up what, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be getting into some Apollo things. They sent me some devices, really cool devices. So, I'll get into that next couple of weeks.
That's really cool. I like this. You can it's compatible with OpenAI. So if you want to use ChatGPT, you can, or whatever GPT. But it does Anthropic, Google, Gemini, Grok, local AI. So you can actually use the local stuff that you Olama. Like you can process it all locally if you wanted to. It wouldn't cost you any money.
Claude was the one they highly recommended using because its speed versus price was the sweet spot.
But if you wanted all local and you didn't care about speed, because let's be honest, like we're talking speed of like 5 seconds versus like a second. So like,
if you want to be pretty all quick. Local, yes, you
could use Olama for that.
That's all there too. Yep.
And download one of those models as long as it worked well. They got it. That's pretty cool. I like it. That's really cool. All right, well, I do have a couple of projects. I've been kind of busy. Well, all right. So first, switching some OnVIF cameras over to the UniView. I did lose two cameras on the. Well, I lost one. I lost the camera that was on the front of the garage for Unify, which was kind of expected. It was just one of the little G3 things, and I just kind of have it like stuck up there. And I guess it got water in it, probably from like the relentless rains and everything. It didn't survive. And then there was one on the back. It also did not survive, but turns out I took off the thing, and I think it was just like a drop of water had gotten inside the Cat 5 because I didn't cover that up. I just taped it up like real quick with some electrical tape. Probably not the smartest thing to do in a hurricane.
That happens.
The one on the mailbox though, that one survived, and I used the little wire kit that comes with the camera and terminated it correctly and put the gaskets in and all that stuff. So that one was good. That one's fine. But with OnVIF coming to these Uniview, over to Unify, like the Uniview cameras I have, is really hard to say because one of them's Uniview and one of them is Unify. The Uniview cameras are amazing, and I can get the performance and the interface that I want done. Like I'm so happy about this. So definitely moving over to some of those cameras. It seems to finally be getting better. Before, I would only get like a static picture and it would just try and connect to the stream over and over again. Now it seems to be connecting pretty quickly, like just about as fast as some of the Unify cameras. I noticed that if I put it on I don't even know what it does. There's some setting when you're setting up the stream. I set it to basic, and it gets rid of a lot of the configuration stuff on the Uniview camera. And I noticed that one did load a little bit faster than some of the other things. So maybe that's the setting. I don't know. I don't know what they need or what they're doing for Unify. They really haven't told anybody, which I think is kind of on them. It would be nice if they publish some information about like what kind of streams work best with their products. And then you could modify the cameras to output those streams. I did have one camera that I was using on the side of my house, and it's got 2 cameras built into it. And it worked great for the Hurricane, but unfortunately, this is why you should never install dome cameras on a house. When the Hurricane was whipping up dust and dirt and stuff and water, like it almost immediately became just a horror. You couldn't see anything out the picture, so it was done. Like before, the other cameras were fine. They're just bullet cameras or turret cameras, I guess is what they call them. They're fine, but this one, you couldn't see anything out of it until I took it down and cleaned the lenses off. Don't ever install a dome camera outside. They're awful. That's a public service announcement. So.
They are pretty awful.
Don't ever do it. It's just dumb. Stick with bullet and I guess turret cameras. Yeah, so I'm excited. I've got a Unify NVR, the company, or Uniview NVR also here, which I'm thinking I can go ahead and connect up to those cameras too and have just another backup of it. But I didn't have a hard drive, so I went looking for hard drives on the internets there. While I was buying some other stuff on Amazon, I noticed that you can get refurbished hard drives for really cheap.
Very cheap.
Very cheap. So I picked up 4 12 terabyte, I guess they're, what is it? HTGS? I can't remember the model numbers.
HTST, yeah.
Yeah. Drives. I picked them up for like, what, $89, $90, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And I mean, I thought, why not? Like, that's as much as I was going to pay for a 6 terabyte drive. Like, just get those. And if they're bad, they're bad.
And for an NVR.
I ended up taking it. I had 3 drive bays open on my NAS drive, so I just stuck them in there. And now that thing's up to like 40 something terabytes, which is, I was already getting full. I was going to have to start deleting stuff. You know how I am about deleting anything. I don't ever delete anything. So that wasn't going to happen. So now I've gotten more space. And then I've got one left over. What I think I'm going to do is swap out one of the drives, the 6 terabytes or 4 terabyte drives that are in there, swap it out for the other 12 terabyte. And then just kind of like put the 4 or 6 terabyte in this NVR. And call it a day. And then I'll have like a backup NVR of the NVR too. So
are you putting them in your Unraid server?
No, I can't put anything in the Unraid server that uses the smaller drives, right? So
you'd have to upgrade the parity drive sizes and stuff, right?
No, it uses the 12, the 2.5 inch drives.
Oh, you have that's your Dell server, right? Yeah, I had that problem too. Yeah, but
so you max out like 2 terabytes, and I don't want to pay for those, so I have a bunch of 1 terabyte drives in there, and it's fine. It does the caching and VMs and all that. So I got plenty of space for all that stuff, and anything else I just copy over to the NAS, like just kind of like just move it over.
Because in an Unraid server, I'd recommend nothing wrong with buying those drives, but if you're gonna go that route, put 2 drives as parity drives, and that way you could survive 2 drive failures if that were to happen. And
that's a good idea.
Because they're so cheap for that price, you might as well throw in 2 parity drives, right? And
it's like $60 to $70 right now for a terabyte. I think I've been using the Crucial drives, SSDs. So I may as well pop it in. You're right. Use another parity drive, and Does it make the parity go faster if I do that?
No, but it just adds extra resiliency, right? The parity drive, not the cache drive, it's the parity drive. And all it does is just like you have one parity drive, so if a drive fails, you're still safe. But if two drives were to fail at the same time, you're kind of screwed, right? So you add two parity drives, and now I guess you a little more protection.
Makes sense. I set up one RAID server at the office for some office applications and things that we were doing there. And it came with these two smaller, like 0.5 terabyte Intel drives. And so I made those like the cache pool.
Yes.
I guess together. And then we stuck in some of the like NVR drives that we had. And it's always funny because like every now and then it does the parity check on that. And I'll get the notification that it started. And I'm like, on mine, I'll get the notification it started. And I don't have very much. I mean, I have a few terabytes of drive space, right? But with this, like there's multiple terabytes. It takes a few hours, like a number of hours for it to finish.
Mine takes about,
and when it gets done, I get the notifications like the next day. What happened?
Mine takes about 28 hours to run, but it can continue doing everything while it's running. So that's fine. And my cache drive, I set up a mirrored drive. So basically it mirrors it to two drives. So if one of them were to fail, I have the mirror backup. And the reason I do that is because there's certain things that are permanently on the cache drive. So I need to have that resiliency.
Right.
So.
Like the virtual machines are there, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll have to go back and look what I did on that and see if they're mirrored properly. If not, I'll have to tear that down and put it back together. But
I'm just creating another project.
Yeah, another work project. Jeez, great. And then I when I was at the hotel, we were using our little travel router, which is what I used to hop on the Wi-Fi there. Now, the room I stayed in, they had an Ethernet jack on the wall.
What?
I know, right? And so I plugged into it, and it worked. It got online. So I was like, all right. So I used the router and I plugged into that. My stupid router would just decide to reboot and shut down. It was like, I'm done with life. I'm quitting. So I had to find another travel router. And I'm a big fan of the Firewall brand stuff. I have that at my house. We use it. We use it at our office. It makes VPN simple, like dead simple. But I gotta say, the price on them is up there. And I think I need the purple. I think the purple one has the Wi-Fi for a travel router, whatever. But I can get this GL iNet router with Wi-Fi 6 and everything for like $89. So that's I had the old version of this. I got the new version of it. I think it was under $100, and it works the exact same way. I can import the same VPN. What I do is the VPN WireGuard VPN profile. I think you just copy and paste it into this thing, and there's a little switch under one of the little silly antennas. When I turn that switch on, it will connect the VPN. So sometimes with the hotel Wi-Fi or hotel systems, you don't want it to be on at first. You want to connect, and then you want to flip that switch so all your traffic goes through the VPN, because you have to go through the guest network thing, the guest portal page where you have to put your room name and stuff. Once you do that, this little guy maintains that connection, and you don't have to put that in through your stay. And the reason I like it is because I just set it to the same Wi-Fi network as my house, and all of our Wi-Fi devices that we bring in, I don't have to get everybody on the network. I just get this stupid thing on, and then all the devices connect to that. And we don't have to do the dance what's the password? What room number are we in? No, we don't have to do that. I had to do that a bunch this time because the stupid thing kept dying and I kept trying to figure out what was causing it. So I'm going to toss that one in the trash. It's been all over the world, actually. I took that on the cruise and was able to use the cruise Wi-Fi across multiple devices and watch The Mandalorian in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which was pretty amazing to think about. Hey, I streamed The Mandalorian from my Plex server at home and was able to watch it on a TV inside the room. I will say I brought an Apple TV this time because we were going to be in the hotel for an extended period of time. Apple TV is so much better than using a Roku. God, the Rokus are just so frustrating and awful to use. And they just beat you over the head to remind you about that every time you try and use them. The Apple TV fired right up, did exactly what you wanted to do. But without a travel router, you can't hook that up to the TV in the room because you can't get through the guest portal with an Apple TV.
So what travel router is that one again?
It is a GL iNet. GL iNet. It is what was the old thing? The old WRT54GL thing.
Does it?
It's a WRT router. So at the underneath all of it, all the little skins and stuff they put on top, WRT.
I know people are excited because Unraid announced integration with Tailscale.
Tailscale, yep. Yeah, that's a great overlay network.
Building it right in, and you'll be able to connect to all that stuff. And
good.
So if that router supported Tailscale, then you'd be able to just do that without VPNing in.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tailscale is essentially WireGuard with a little thing on top of it, and it really, it's like a management interface. I already use Tailscale, but I have the computers all set up, and I already have. There's already plugins or Docker modules or something
for Unraid.
For Unraid. Yeah, so I've been using those, and it really makes it easy to connect two Unraid boxes together, transfer files. I mean, super simple. You have to do all the command line. Like if you have a VM or whatever, you can just transfer files that way. So I've been doing that. And it certainly makes setting up a VPN very, very much easier because you just install the service and you're good to go.
I still use the VPN with my Unify switch, my gateway.
Yeah.
And the only reason why is because my Unraid has crashed in the past. Like, what if I wanted to get to my Unraid, and that's down? So, the Unify stuff has never died on me. That's the one point of entry, that's going to be up and working.
Yeah. Well, if it's down.
Yeah, exactly. And if it goes down, I can't do anything. So, yeah.
I usually set up multiple. Sometimes I want to go straight to that box with Tailscale, and I'll have that set up. But I do have multiple devices, multiple profiles set up on Firewalla to get into that router, and just get into the rest of the house. But yeah, man, I gotta say, coming from the open VPN world, WireGuard has changed everything. Yep. And Tailscale's built on WireGuard. It just gives it a nice, pretty interface, and they do a bunch of fun stuff. That company's interesting. They do fun stuff. So, and I've got another little project that I'm getting really excited about, and I'm gonna have to blame Jim over there from the Average Guys podcast. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the Average Guy. No, Home Gadget Geeks.
Home Gadget Geeks. Average. What is his Average Guys?
The Average Guy TV.
Average Guy Networks. Yeah,
and it's all the podcast is Home Gadget Geeks.
So yeah, I've been listening to him, and he comes on. There's this guy he has on there every now and then, and he talks about this Meshtastic stuff.
Oh, Mike, yeah, Mike Uyghur.
Yeah, I'm like, man, it would be nice if there was some little sensors up, and I'm like, well, what if the Meshtastic things can do it? So I started looking into it. Man, that might be a solution for some kind of little relay messages that I could put in, and the devices are so small, I could put them around town, no one would notice. I could stick them up on top of buildings. Literally, it would be much easier if I had a service truck. I could just roll up and get on top of a building and stick something on the roof. No one would notice. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So, they don't require internet. They just require a little bit of sunlight for power. And, I'm going to I bought a little antenna. I'm going to put an antenna on my roof and see how many pop. I've seen 2 devices pop up. I don't know where they are.
Somebody might have put them on your roof.
Well, they could be miles away, but I don't know what's happened to them. They haven't shown up. They showed up over the weekend, and then they disappeared. So maybe the people are walking around with them or something, and they just happen to be in the area when I happen to be outside with mine. But I got this little thing, the LilyGo. It's like an all-in-one unit. It's like this little thing, and it's got a little antenna on it. But I got a bigger antenna for it. I'm gonna do a couple of things and see if I can, I'm going to get some sensors and tie it to it and see if I can use the sensor reporting on it to kind of log that stuff. So this gets involving and involves MQTT and what I like is it's got physical stuff that you can actually connect to it and it can live by itself. I don't need to run power somewhere. I don't need to get a Cat5 out there. I can put it somewhere out of the way. No one will notice it's there. And yet I get a little sensor out of it. And it contributes to this little Meshtastic thing. It's a little mesh of all these little devices out there that other people can use to communicate too. If there is an actual power outage that all the communication goes down on, these things will still be just humming along, doing their thing, relaying messages and my data, the little data that I need. So yeah, it seems like a cool little product.
In a time of disaster, people will appreciate what you've done.
Maybe. I mean, like the two other people that are using it in town. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I looked at like there are still the local radio, ham radio chapter people that do that, and they do like they go in with like the Red Cross, and will coordinate with them, set them up with devices that do email over ham radio, so they can send messages that way. I'm like, yeah. I mean, they're still maintaining the big radio repeaters and everything, so they can essentially communicate with anyone in the world the way that stuff works. This is more of a local level type thing. It doesn't quite get out to the rest of the world, as far as I can tell. There's people playing with this stuff, and there's people doing crazy, interesting things with it. But I barely scratched the surface. I've got one powered on, and then noticed that there was another person in town that may have one too. So I'll send them like a little message that says hi, and see if they ever respond to it.
Yeah.
It should be interesting.
I thought about making one of these because I have an extra Raspberry Pi keyboard that I'm not doing anything with, but I need to look into antennas and see if I can find a USB one that works with it. Because it does sound like a cool project.
Yeah, it's got to have the special radio. It's got to have like the LoRa radio thing. It's got to be a specific type. I actually had in a thing I bought on Facebook at one point in time was this helium miner thing. I don't know if you guys remember helium.
Oh yeah, helium. That was there for a while.
I picked this up for like $20. They were like $3,000 or something at the time. And I was like,
that's an NFT, right?
Yeah. Well, I think what they were doing is they were setting up a LoRa network, but then they were selling it. They were like, we're going to sell the access to this network. And then that didn't ever come to pass because it seemed, it didn't work. But what they did was they were like, well, we'll pay people. They made a pyramid scheme out of it. And I think they're still trying to do that now with 5G connectivity. I don't know how it's going to work. Anyway, I took this apart. It turns out to be like a little Linux machine that and it has a little hard drive, and I just wiped the hard drive. And I used it. I used this to check my hard drives when I got them in. And then it's got a rack radio inside of it. But unfortunately, this very type one is not compatible with Mesh Tactics. So I couldn't use this one. I had to buy some other one. So anyway, it is interesting. I'm hoping that when I get the antenna put up high on the roof or something, I'll see more people. Maybe there'll be more than two people. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody else, but if it's just me and my little sensors, I'll be content with it. And then I'll see if there's anybody else. There's probably other people in town and be interested in it, because it is interesting that you can take something like this, which is like, this thing is under $100, right? I can plug it in, charge it up, last 3 or 4 days by itself. And then it pairs with your phone, right? So it gives you like a little message system right on your phone. You can direct message people. You can send basically text over like a local network to local people within, I don't know, a few dozen miles of where you are, as long as it has the repeaters in place. So I think it would be good for potentially emergency situations, but just to have like a back channel thing where you can set up and communicate with, that may be good for in a number of other different reasons. So I don't know. I'll see if the local ham radio club is interested in digital technology. I did check their meeting minutes and to see what kind of conversations they had. And they seem to be pretty technology challenged. They had a Windows computer that was crashing, and they were going to have to send somebody in to check on it, to reboot it or something. Could probably fix that, but then I don't want to get involved.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that one.
Yeah. It's like, let's set up little mesh things at our house and see what happens. Let's do that. Let's have fun with this. So I don't know. I'll see where it goes with it. I've been texting my brother too. He seems to be pretty interested in it too. So maybe he'll get something started. He's up in Dallas though, so this won't reach there. But he'll see if there's a group that he can get involved with up there. Yeah, that's all I got. Actually, well, I started a bunch more projects, I guess, is what I did. I didn't actually get anything. I still have to go mount the cameras. Now, there's one camera over there sitting on the table. There's two back there that are sitting on the table. I'm going to go put them up. Not tonight.
I have faith in you.
Not tonight, though. It's too...
Right up with the outdoor lights. Permanent outdoor lights.
Yeah, this year, I don't know. Probably, yeah, it'll be this year. No, I had to take down the Unify cameras anyway because they were dead. So I think what's going to go back up is going to be these cameras that can see really well at night. And, I'll just miss out on the AI events for a while and go from there. It does suck because when you do get the OnVIF stuff in, it just records. That's all it does. It just records all the time. But if there's any like motion or people or whatever, you don't get those events. It's kind of unfortunate that they can't just ingest like OnVIF events or something like that, and where you could like map them to what it is, because these cameras have full AI engines built into them too, and it seems kind of a waste to have to add an AI key or whatever to reprocess the video and spit it out the way Unify wants it. So
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be surprised if they're working towards that. Like, you got to remember, we're really early in this OnVIF thing, right? So, just even seeing the rumors of that AI key mean they're thinking about this stuff, right? And I've looked at the OnVIF profiles and stuff like that, and they're all over the place. When it comes to a manufacturer, they just because it has this profile doesn't mean it integrates everything from it. A lot of them is just the stream, not the events, right? So maybe they're trying to think of how we can open this up so it works with everything nicely. And part of it may be that they have to actually process the video with their own thing to give a unique experience. In the end, they're just using your camera for the video feed.
Right.
And they want the unified experience across all their cameras.
Yep.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, I am too. It's a great step in the right direction. We had some conversations with Unify at Cedia, and I mean, they did mention that they have a whole lot of product on the roadmap, a lot of new stuff. So I didn't get any details on like what that new stuff would be, unfortunately, but gonna be curious because it sounds exciting. It sounds like they've got a bunch of stuff they're ready to come out with, which is good. Good. We all like little toys. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up my projects, and I think that's going to wrap up the show this week. But we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to the private Slack chat, the hub, where you and everyone else can get in there and talk about cameras. And the Unify World Conference.
That's right.
And all sorts of fun stuff. There's, and if you were in there, I think I posted the video link.
Yes, you did. It was a whole week of, is Seth all right? Is Seth all right? Is Seth all right? It's like, we realized nobody cares about the rest of us.
Well, I mean, here's what you need. A major natural disaster, and then, over your house.
That's it.
Then, people will be writing to you.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to ask if Gavin's all right. You don't know if I'm all right, like.
Gavin, you're all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm hanging in there,
right.
TJ, you all right?
What's going to be your problem, Gavin? You going to have too much maple syrup or something? You don't have any natural disasters in
Okay,
Canada.
well, you know what? Since you want to get into it, I got an espresso machine and I've cut off Tim Hortons cold turkey, and it's been kind of rough transition, but
Wow, so you're going to bankrupt Tim Hortons.
Yeah, but I used ChatGPT to tell me how to replicate my favorite Tim Hortons coffee in the Nespresso, and it told me what pods to get and how much sugar to add, and I bought a milk frother and stuff like that. So it's I've been going through a rough time, but you never ask if I'm okay, so you don't know these kind of things. So the Nespresso's holding me over, but I'm doing all right otherwise.
Oh, that's good.
If you want to help out but can't support financially or don't have a fancy coffee maker like Gavin, we'd just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up the news here on HomeTech this week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.